Good morning. Good morning. I'm Carol Johnson. I'm parish associate here at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, and we are so glad to have all of you who are here in person and who are here on Zoom. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you. We're going to start showing you on Zoom just at the beginning of the service so that we know that you're here. So if you're in your PJs, you might not want to turn on the video, but other than that, we would just love to be able to see you and greet you. Yes.
Now they see the back of your head.
Oh, okay. That's a good point. We'll figure this out. After the service, we are going to do a Zoom meeting of the people, just as, I don't know if you remember when we were only worshiping on Zoom, we used to have about 10 minutes to just talk and chat. And I'm going to go into the welcome room and gather the Zoom people to chat with each other if they're interested. If anybody wants to come talk with them, you're welcome to join me. And we're going to try that out. So we'll see how that goes right after the service. So if you're on Zoom, don't log out. And if anybody is willing to help me with those each week, let me know. Write it on your friendship tablet, which is the turquoise tablet there. Just put Zoom next to your name or tell me. And speaking of the friendship tablet, if anyone or if everyone could let us know that you're here, and we'll pass those up and down the aisles. And then if you're on Zoom, please put your name in chat or you're welcome. And then if you're on YouTube, there's a place underneath you can click to sign in as well. If you're wondering about all the red today, this is the Christian holiday of Pentecost. And for those of you who aren't as steeped in Christian tradition, Pentecost is a Sunday that celebrates a story in the Bible. After Jesus died, his followers were gathered for a Jewish festival called Shavuot. And they were all in a room and they were all very sad, as you can imagine. And suddenly they were filled with the spirit of love that we call the Holy Spirit. And they got so excited, they went out to share that with everybody in the town or city or wherever they were. And the color for the Holy Spirit in the Christian church is red. So on the 7th Sunday after Easter, we celebrate this experience and we call it Pentecost. And so many of us who got the memo are wearing red. But that's what this is about. Deborah Gosher-Vinnick is an award-winning maker of documentary films, and she came to Austin to interview Hilda and Yvonne some years back, and she fell in love with St. Andrews. She's finished a documentary on the opioid crisis and would love for a group from St. Andrews to be a focus group for the film. If anyone is interested, please leave your email address and the friendship tablet with the words focus group, and we will get back in touch with you. You won't have to, you can view it from your home. So just let us know. We'll send you a link to the film and then she'll contact a group of you to give her feedback. So that's something else to put in the friendship tablet. Our hope on this Pentecost is that whatever mood you're in as you came in, that you will leave filled with the same spirit of love as those people in that story long ago. On your way out, please don't forget to check the mission lobby. It has information. We're trying not to get lots of tables out there so that we can all congregate and talk to each other and have a feeling of spaciousness in our main lobby. But please try to make a practice of going through those doors and then out, or if you go out these doors, checking it out before you leave, because there'll be signups and all kinds of things each week. And with that, let us worship.
In the first glimmers of morning, the world begins to take shape. Vague outlines, patterns of light and dark, and colors, dun branches of trees and withered winter grass. The brightening sky bathes a familiar landscape with a glow as it sleepily reveals itself. Blessed morning. Oh, to have another day, to wake from whatever night thoughts dwell within. To rise and have the world unfold before us, where the possible unwinds into the actual, where dreams wait fulfilling. Did I leave out a little bit? Where we meet once again to live into the hope that gathers us. Blessed morning.
If the children would now join us for the puppet show, is Mr. Monkey here today? Yay! Yes, and the young at heart.
The church was able to meet Mr. Monkey's contract demands, so he's back. So,
Do you want?
it was a lot of bananas.
Are there any other young at hearts that want to join us? There's Yvonne.
Thank you. I was looking down the aisle if there was any food to bring up. Does anybody have any for the food bank? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Good morning to all my wonderful friends here today.
Hortense. I'm so excited. I get to help Mr. Monkey work on his new play, The Legend of Monkey Cowboy. Written, directed, and starring Mr. Monkey.
Oh, well, that's very nice. But Mr. Monkey, what do you know about being a cowboy?
I know everything. I've watched television my whole life. I'm an expert on lots of things.
And Mr. Monkey, I found a cow for your play.
What?
Her name is Bessie, and I even wrote her a line.
Jack, I don't want a cow in my play.
But you're going to be a cowboy. What's wrong with cows?
Well, for one thing, they have green teeth.
Green teeth. Why do you think cows have green teeth?
Because I'm logical. Cows eat only grass. Grass is green, so cows must have green teeth.
Huh. Well, wait a minute now. You know, I eat carrots, but I don't have orange teeth.
Mr. Monkey, you need to test your beliefs. Look at Bessie. Does she have green teeth?
No, but it probably means she's wearing false teeth.
No, it means that cows don't have green teeth.
And another thing, I hate milk. And milk comes from cows, therefore I don't want a cow in my play.
But Mr. Monkey, don't you like chocolate milk?
Of course I like chocolate milk, but that's different.
Well, chocolate milk has milk in it.
No, it doesn't.
Sure it does. It's in the name. Chocolate milk.
Well, our galaxy is called the Milky Way, but that doesn't mean it's made of milk.
Oh my gosh, he's right. No.
Mr. Monkey, if you're going to write a play about cowboys, you need to study real cowboys. You can't think you're an expert just because you watch cowboys on television.
Who was that masked man? Good.
You can't be a cowboy without a cow, Mr. Monkey.
She's right. What kind of cowboy doesn't have a cow? Oh, okay. Bessie, read your line.
Moo.
That's good right there. I don't care who you are.
That was pretty good.
Of course it was. Cows are wonderful animals, and this is why we should always test our ideas about others. Beliefs can be very dangerous if we don't test them. Television and the internet are nice, but reality is the best place to live. Are you all ready to help sing our song?
Yes.
That's good. So, and the rabbit won't steal any of my lines like he did in the play. Yeah. The mean old rabbit.
I was
Okay.
kind of thinking quality control myself, but
Well, there is a young woman in the second service who used to be a little girl a long time ago. And one day she was going out of the church and she said, I have an idea for a new song for the puppet show. And I said, what is it? And she said, she didn't have the tune, so that there was a role for me. But she said, love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Oh, that's a good song. So it goes, love, love, love. That's what it's all about. And that's love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. You ready? Okay. So get the recorder going. Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Love, love, love. That's what it's all about. Thank you. Thank you for singing. Good to have you. And you forgive me for the cheap shot? That's good. That's the rule. Whoever has the mic last. That's why I always do the benediction. So.
This morning's reading is from John 10, verses 1 through 10. The truth of the matter is, whoever doesn't enter the sheepfold through the gate, but climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep, the one for whom the keeper opens the gate. The sheep know the shepherd's voice. The shepherd calls them by name and leads them out. Having led them all out of the fold, the shepherd walks in front of them, and they follow because they recognize the shepherd's voice. They simply won't follow strangers. They'll flee from them because they don't recognize the voice of strangers. Even though Jesus used this metaphor with them, they didn't grasp what he was trying to tell them. He therefore said to them again, "The truth of the matter is, I am the sheep gate. All who come before me were thieves and marauders whom the sheep didn't heed. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be safe. You'll go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and slaughter and destroy. I came that you might have life and have it to the full." Ancient words for our present day consideration.
Well, thank you all for being here as we're trying to rebuild after COVID. It's like every person is so, we're grateful for everybody that makes the trip. So thank you. And we're at the beginning of a series. It's going to take a while since I'm not getting writing leave again this year for good reasons, because we're rebuilding right now. Last year it was the Republicans. The year before that it was, that typically I take my writing leave in July, which is special session. And they're always hunting for somebody. So, what I'm trying to do is do sermons and classes on sort of the topics of the book that I've been writing on forever, and hopefully to start kind of pulling something together. Yeah, no rush, no rush. And I want it to be something, hopefully, that will be helpful to you. Not just talking about religion, but talking about life. You know, we're asking the question today, religion, who needs it? And I would imagine that's a question that many people ask. When I got to college, I was preparing to study all the world religions and see which one worked best for me, but I wasn't prepared for that question, which professors ask us, why are you religious at all? And, you know, we studied that first year was like a dip in acid because we, you know, the Freud saying it's a childhood neuroses, Bertrand Russell saying it's born of fear, Marx saying it was the opium of the people. Some of the new atheists even say it kind of more harshly. Stephen Weinberg says, with or without religion, you would have good people doing good things and evil people doing evil things. But for good people to do evil things, that takes religion. Now, I don't agree with that 100%, but I agree with it some percent. Right? That when we look at the situation of the world today, the way America practices religion is a huge part of the problem that we're facing. And this goes way back. Mark Twain, another thing I ran across when I got to college was Letters from the Earth, or Letters to the Earth, his sort of attack on religion. And Mark Twain, I always thought, you know, just really nice guy kind of stuff. But he didn't like religion very much. He said, the church has opposed every innovation and discovery from the day Galileo to our own time, when the use of anesthetics in childbirth was regarded as a sin because it avoided the biblical curse pronounced against Eve. And I studied that there were people from the church that said that women shouldn't have anesthesia because the Bible says women should suffer in childbirth. I mean, he has some good points here. He also said there was no place in the land where the seeker could not find some small budding sign of pity for the slave as the nation started waking up to slavery. He said no place in all the land but one, the pulpit. It yielded last, it always does. It fought a strong and stubborn fight, and then it did what it always does, join the procession at the tail end. Slavery fell, the slavery text of the Bible remained, the practice changed, that was all. Could we do the first slide, please? When I was a kid, one of the reasons that was given for being religion, at least as a Christian, was so that you wouldn't go to that place. And I'll admit it looks a little unpleasant. I'm blanking on Hieronymus. Is that right? Did I say that right? Hieronymus Bosch. He loved drawing hell. And as a kid, I just was fascinated by all the little characters that he has. But what kind of a product needs a threat like that to sell it? You know what I'm saying? What kind of a religion is only appealing if that's the alternative? And there are many world religions that have some kind of horrific possibility, you know, a karmic wheel of sorrow if you don't do the enlightenment, continual rebirth, this kind of thing. So today we're asking, is there a product called religion that doesn't need this kind of bullying and threat? Who needs it? Who needs religion? What I'm going to suggest is that for Jesus, religion wasn't really a need. It was an aspiration. So you don't see him, I mean, he talks about hell because people believed in hell. He had to talk about the imagery of the time. But the axle around which his movement rotated was love, compassion, hope, not fear and hell. And I believe when the religion made that transition and started using the energy of fear, it already aligned itself to cruelty. And I think that we can see historically the truth of that. Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I think there is an understanding of religion. I 100% understand people who don't like religion. I got it. One of the things that took me so long to go into the ministry was I was humiliated to tell my friends that I was going to be a minister because my own view was so low. You think of somebody who's kind of escapist, kind of a second or third rate thinker. But something happened to me in my training where I worked with people when they were dying. And I realized these were people who needed religion to cross a bridge, to get in touch with something. It wasn't literal necessarily, but I realized that just because I left religion would not mean that religion would leave people alone. Right? It's still going to be there because religion is a topic. It's like politics. If somebody says, I don't like politics, I don't want to get involved in politics. Well, that doesn't mean politics are going to leave you alone. Right? There's a rabbinical saying, if there are two people in the room, there's politics. I would suggest if there's one person in the room, there's religion. Right? Because none of us can untether from our mammal, animal, irrational core and become this pure reason. And in many ways, we're safer, or other people are safer from us, if we realize, we have the humility to realize that we struggle towards compassion and rationality. But that's not our default. And what religion can be is what Buddha called skillful means, to stay in touch with our best selves in times when we're tempted to be shut down. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a story that Jesus taught. And please go to the next one. Jesus is the guy with the little glowing head. This is all historical. So you'd think more people would believe him if his head glowed. You would think. Actually, my belief from studying the ancient things was the halo is a symbol of kind of cosmic being. That if it's gold, it's the sun. If it's silver, it's the moon. And those are different kinds of truth, kind of thing. But what it's saying is the message this person is bringing is bigger than just the topic of religion or politics or life. It's cosmic, kind of thing. So they told a story about a man who'd been born blind. And Jesus does the healing, and the religious people get furious. Now that's a theme in the Christian story, where priests, preachers, our type of ilk, are kind of the problem, right? People that are seeking for meaning, for love, no matter how wounded they are, can be headed in the right direction. But sort of the guardians of the kingdom, the people that speak for God, are given villain roles in the Christian story. Not because clergy are all bad. There are 3 or 4 of us that are. But our role is problematic by definition, right? When somebody's sitting in this role, standing in this place, there's danger. Like they should always hear something shouting in their ear, danger, danger, danger. If I thought that you would take what I say uncritically, I would never come up here, right? I know that you're mature enough to say, okay, that works, that doesn't work. That's a helpful insight. That's a crock. Because that way, I mean, we're on the same level. We're struggling as every human being does, to see a little bit further, to feel a little bit deeper. Now, the problem was not the physical disability that the person had. First of all, I don't take any part of the Bible literally. Maybe some of the justice stuff. I see it all as poetry, all of it is parable. Particularly like the healing lessons. A lot of them come from earlier religions. There's stories that the hearer would say, okay, yeah, that's that religion, that's that religion. But in this case, the lack of being able to see is not about earthly vision. Helen Keller used to say that like the worst kind of blindness is basically having eyes but no vision, having physical vision, but not realizing that other people are your human family. She said, the best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. So this view of hell, I don't believe is a place, but I believe a lot of us spend some time there. One poet said that hell is wherever there isn't love. And we find ourselves there, right? We find ourselves in this, restricted place where we feel like it's us against the world. And we're not really choosing. It's more like something we slide into. And we wake up and we can't remember our own kindness. We can't remember our own hopes. Religion's a stepladder, or at least it should be a stepladder to the parts of ourselves that we lose sometimes. Next picture. The scripture says this is an allegory, which is a good thing because putting a sheep on your shoulder with a white robe isn't thinking very far down the road. Sheep are not housebroken. So it's a symbol. And I think there's a psychological component to it. That when we read these stories, the idea was to understand ourselves better, not just to believe something that may or may not be true. But I think Christ represents your greatest self. The wisdom that's kind of written in your body because you're part of the cosmos. Your capacity to do mathematics and art come from a very deep creative place. The sheep represents the part of yourself that kind of runs off into the disaster. This isn't saying that I'm a shepherd and you're sheep, right? I wouldn't accept that and you wouldn't either. It's talking about all of us. There are times when we're sort of the shepherd of our lives. We're at the steering wheel, and there are other times when we are just running off the cliff. And again, it's not something we choose to do, that religion has to help us get back to full capacity. But religion is always the lamp. It's never the flame, right? Whatever we mean by the word spiritual, that's the flame. And religion does not give that to you. What religion does is give you disciplines and practices and a community to kind of protect that flame, to watch each other's back, to help each other when we're off balance. If you remember my good self when all I can feel is my bad self, you can be a healer simply in your response. I believe that's what these stories are trying to share with us. And if there were a hell, I would leave the church. I mean, if I found out there's literally a hell, I would never spend eternity with the torturer. I mean, the idea of an eternal hell is stupid. And I don't use that word very often. My mother always said, don't use the word. But the idea of hell, like eternal punishment after you're dead, and there's no way you can learn from it and get out of it, that's a very, very stupid idea. And it does untold damage on the people that believe it, because that fear shuts good people down. And that's something I agree with the astrophysicist. I think there are other things that can make a good person do bad things. Love, romance, ambition, politics. There's all kinds of things that can make us wander off of our true self. But one of them is religion that's based on fear or superstition. So Emerson used to say, where is it? Religion is to do right. It is to love. It is to serve. It is to think. It is to be humble. And we all intend that, but something happens within us to keep that from always being. Hell is that horrible place where we're stuck, sometimes within ourselves. One poet said that we're punished by our sins, not for our sins. So hell is a symbol of the misery of a loveless life, of feeling you're on your own, not feeling your connections with anybody else, not able to empathize with others because you're so afraid and shut down. But there's also an equal and opposite truth, that if you try to live in reason all the time, if you try to be whole and enlightened all the time, there's a different kind of insanity, because we can't do that. All of those little quirks, the instincts, the emotions, even the childish ones, are what make life worth living. Reason does not lead us to value. Value is something you feel. No matter how much you believe in justice, if you don't empathize with other people, you're talking about something else. Justice is what reason does to empathy. It makes it universal, but it has to start with the flesh and blood feelings. And sometimes to get in touch with those feelings, you have to come off balance, right? You have to go on a little journey inside. You have to go crazy sometimes a little bit. And if we think we're speaking for God as human beings, no matter how religious we are, we've entered insanity. And so in the stories, the priests and preachers are the villains. I can live with that. I'm sure you're fine with that too. The early church founder, Saint John Chrysostom, used to say, the road to hell is paved with the skulls of clergy. I don't even know what that means, but I agree. I mean, hopefully not my skull, but if that's all I am, if clergydom becomes a role that I'm playing, then there's a pathology there, right? Because I'm the same little mammal you are, doing the best I can. I'm playing a role within the community, but there is no elevation beyond ordinary humanity. Like that's as high as it gets for any of us. And try to go beyond that makes it worse. I love that Jesus says that the good shepherd calls the sheep by their name. And that's saying that universality cannot erase your individuality, right? Unity means nothing if we're not seeing the individuals. Like people who say, I don't see race, or I love everybody. It's like, if you don't see certain things, you're just not seeing the minefield somebody else has to walk through. Right? So that type of love is close to worthless. It's just so generic. It never really lands anywhere. It's a beautiful bird with no feet to land. So I love a song by Jackson Browne. On finding ourselves. It says, throw down your truth and check your weapons. Don't look to see if you're alone. Just stand your ground. Don't turn around, whatever happens. Don't ask directions. The next voice you hear will be your own. I think that's what Jesus is pointing to here. But he talks about calling the name of the sheep. It's hearing your own voice. And most churches shut that down. Right? You go to confirmation class and they fill your head with answers to questions you weren't asking, instead of listening for your unique voice and applauding that. That's what we can do for each other, that sometimes we can't do for ourselves. We've all found somebody who sees something great within us at times when we can't feel that. And that's something that a community can do that we can't do alone. So they're two, it's like bowling. It's like there's two gutters and either one doesn't count, give you any points. What is the balance? That's what we're talking about here. Could we see next? Religion needs to be able to fold down to the level where we feel safe when we're at our worst and most vulnerable. The symbols have to work at a childlike level so that even when we're shut down, we can hear something stirring. So Jesus said, I'm like the gate, right? This isn't the chosen sheep of the universe. And the church may have said that. But what the parable is saying is that it protects people when they're caved in on themselves. It also opens where they go in and out. It's like a nest for a bird when it's developing its wings, but it also opens to the whole sky. And religion has to do both of those. So this idea of the gate that you go in and out, there's also, I like the idea of the umbrella where you close and you're just an individual, but when you open it, you're the universe kind of thing. What is our next? I mean, how many times does Jesus talk about things like birds and flowers so that we feel the life within us? That's such an important starting place. He says, I've come that you might have life. Religion isn't a need, but neither is art. Art's an aspiration. We're more human if we create. Kindness is not a need. It's a calling to our greatness, is what it is. So Jesus talks about the life within us. And then the next one, Pentecost, which is why I wore the red tie. I don't wear ties very often, but it was the only red thing in my office. So, and I knew the worship team would. I won't say what would have happened, but this is another Pentecost. I had to go looking for this, and some people were helpful. But what that symbol of the flame, the tongues of flame, you find it in Stoicism, you find it in Hinduism, and the meaning of it is this. I hope this isn't a bad idea. When you look at like a campfire, and you have like this big fire, but you have these little tongues that come out. They're also called swords sometimes. I can't really do it. Something like that. But that idea of individuals and unity. When you think of that image of the gate, if you think of an organic being, that's what an organic being is. But it has to have some kind of a boundary in order to survive, but it has to open up to its environment. The flame represents both unity and the individuality of the people. But what's so ironic is it looks like hell. Doesn't it? I mean, it's fire. So in a sense, Hell is when we say no to change. When we greet change with fear, it feels like hell. And when we say yes to it, when we give our individuality back to the whole and realize that's, all the toys go back in the box, right? We're individuals, but we're one thing as well. That's a blissful thought. But everything depends on your inner state. There's Milton that said, the mind is its own place. It can make a heaven of hell or a hell of heaven, depending on what you're doing. I think that's what Jesus is talking about. I don't think he's trying to threaten us. I don't think he's not trying to make us dependent. But to realize we shut down sometimes. And religion is the art of going into somebody else's nightmare and helping them out of it. I learned that in the chaplaincy thing. It doesn't matter what's logical. If somebody is in terror and I can't enter their world with them as they're experiencing it, then I cannot help them. But part of religion is the skill set of entering into other people's worldviews without getting stuck there. So Pentecost is the celebration of the unity and the diversity. That's also the symbol of this gate where the sheep go in and out. For the next few months, we're going to be asking the questions of religion. And one of the questions I hope that you'll ask honestly is, do I really need religion? And I hope that the answer will be no. No, I don't. I'm not afraid of going to hell if I'm not religious. I'm not afraid of getting stuck in a rebirth of karma. But my life would be so much richer if I gave it to love. My life would be so much richer if I got serious about the disciplines of my spiritual life. My life would be so much richer if I shared with others and cared about their journey, particularly young people. If I share my experience with people who are still trying to figure out what the world is in the first place, so they don't have to make all of the same mistakes, not to get them to try to live in our worldview, but to share with them the exciting journey of being alive in the world and in the cosmos. One type of imbalance is when we can't see the whole. Another type of imbalance is where we don't know who we are. We know everything else. We've memorized all of the answers, but we don't know who we are as human beings. Religion is the marriage of those two factors. Healthy religion. Yes. If you're hurt and wounded, it needs to be a tender nest for a wounded bird. But when you're strong, it needs to let go and trust your wings into this vast sky. Well, those are my struggles with the text. That's the best I can do. But we set aside a minute for you to think and how you would understand these words. Thank you for your attention.
I have to comment on that hymn because I believe that that is the hymn of the More Light Presbyterian movement.
One of them they use, I don't know if it'd be. Use it a lot as a prayer before sermons.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, More Light churches were the churches that were affirming of GLBTQ folks. And that was the hymn that was developed during that movement. And this being Pride Week in Austin, that's a great place to start with that. And in addition to it being Pride Week and celebrating the achievements that we have achieved and remembering that we still have a long way to go, particularly with our trans community. We want to keep those folks in our prayers and in our thoughts and in our actions and deeds. We also lift up the family and friends of Joe Montgomery because they'll be having their memorial service for Joe. Joe was a member of the Wellspring Methodist Church in Georgetown, but also was a friend of St. Andrews. And so Jim will be helping with that service tomorrow afternoon at 2:00 up in Georgetown. And we have a number of folks in our congregation who are dealing with that situation that is familiar to many of us, where you go and have tests and then you have to wait for the results. And then sometimes when you get the results are that you need more tests. And so that can be a scary and frustrating time, and we want to remember those folks also. So please join me in this time of prayer. Gracious and loving Spirit, many of us are still reeling from all of the recent and ongoing tragedies of our world. We hope for solutions and meaningful support for all of those who have suffered due to any of these events. Our very souls thirst for wholeness. May we feel the healing strength of community as we come together in grief and pain. We lift up all of those who suffer from illnesses of the body, mind, or spirit, all those who have witnessed horrors, all those who are brokenhearted. May they find the strength, courage, and companionship to deal with their situations with grace, greater ease, and a deeper sense of peace. We lift up leaders of nations and all those who have power over people, that they might not enact rules that they themselves are exempt from due to their own resources and privilege. May they become empowered with wisdom and compassion for all whom they serve. And may our own privilege not exempt us from accountability for all of our action and words. May we live our hope into tomorrow. May we wrap our lives around the challenges of today, that we might be spent in the effort of bringing this world to a place of peace and justice. And in our justice work, may we always remember that neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim, and silence only encourages the tormentor, not the tormented. May we grow in our willingness to choose courage over comfort, to feel hurt without spreading hurt, and to be even a small ray of love and hope in our world that is divided and distrustful of each other. And we lift all these prayers up to you and all your many holy names. Amen.
At St. Andrew's, during our offering time, we do our best to try to make it a worshipful moment, not something that we worship and then pause for the offering and then worship. And it certainly can be that way, but it's more up to us and the mindfulness that we bring to it. And so I'd like to invite you to be mindful first of the blessings that are ours, that are yours, and look at the ways beyond resources that we can give back to make our church, our community, and even the world a more compassionate, loving, and just place. And of course, resources matter. If you can afford to give to the ministries of St. Andrew's and want to do that, if you're worshiping online or on YouTube, watching it later, there are links that you can go to make a contribution. But otherwise, as we pass the baskets, let's ponder the ways in which we can bring our whole selves to our community and our world. Please join me in our offering dedication. We are made for the life of love, and we join as one to be stronger than when we are separate. May our giving be from the whole of our lives for advancement of the beloved community. We dedicate our offering to support the ministries of St. Andrew's and for the possibilities we can achieve together. The ushers, please come forward. Please rise as you're able.
and believing in life, one of the special times of life is high school graduation. And we are thrilled to have 5 people in our congregation who are graduating from high school this year. If you're here, you're free to join me up here when I read your name, or you don't have to if you don't want to. So whatever you decide. Amelia Griswell is graduating from Vista Ridge High School, and she'll be attending the University of Colorado at Boulder. Ireland Griffin is graduating from Meridian World School and attending Pomona College. Liam Plock is attending Weiss High School and attending A&M. Thanks, Liam. Dylan Presley is attending Rice High School or is graduated from Rouse High School and is attending St. Paul University. And Grace McSpadden attended Laurel Springs School and is attending or graduated from Laurel Springs School and is attending the University of Pittsburgh. We have a charge to you, Liam, and to all the other graduates. Please let them know there's a message to them on the Zoom or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. So congratulations on your graduation. It's a momentous achievement. We have loved watching you grow and learn during these past years. And we thank you for sharing yourself with us. We are now watching you enter a new chapter in your life. You may be leaving Austin or staying here. Either way, we know you will have new and different interests and claims on your time. No matter how infrequently we may see you, please know that you will always have a home here. Someone will always be willing to listen if you need an ear or assistance. And know also that you are a wonderful, beloved person who will always be accepted and nurtured by that force we call love or God. That force is inside you, always with you. So go out, learn, have fun, give back, and keep loving.
I think I turned my mic on. I did. Yay. Well, it's a rough world out there right now. Our nation is going through something I don't think any of us predicted it would get like this, but for some people, America's always been like this. So we have the opportunity to join in solidarity with the people of the world. And I think that's what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about any country, any empire. Those were the Romans, right? Jesus is talking to all the people of the world, no matter how powerless they may feel, to promise us that God's ways are different than those of empire, that God has taken the stones rejected by the builders and is building a new temple of humankind where there's neither male nor female, Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, where we can be ourselves and yet be a part of this spiritual family. As you go out into the world, realize that it has no power to define you, that you do not give it. Realize you cannot be reduced to the pettiness, the hatred, the dishonesty. If you will be true to the voice inside of yourself, you'll lose it from time to time, but religion is the skill of finding it back again and us helping each other. So may this be a week, no matter what the world is doing, maybe this be a week of love, of curiosity, discovery, and compassion. May this world be a better place at the end of this week because of how we live each day. Go in peace.
Hello. I'm trying to figure out how to, can you hear me? Did they turn off the music?
Hi, Carol.
Hey, hi, Destiny.
I'm trying to see if there are other people in here.
Oh, yes, there's some of us.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry they turned off the music.
Well, I did that so you could talk to them.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you guys would be like,
Oh, that's perfect. Okay. All right. You kind of see on the side of my head here. How do I do it so they
well,
can
you know,
see me?
if you sit, over here, for example, somewhere,
Yeah.
so they're looking at you while you're looking.
Ah,
You're gonna have a-
Wow.
Yeah, it'll follow you.
oh, it fall. Okay, this time it. So, hello. How is everybody?
Doing well.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
Hey, Gloria.
Carol, thank you. That was such a beautiful service.
Yes.
It was.
Mm.
See, some of you got the red memo. My heavens, if you didn't, that's okay too. But we got lots of red today.
Yeah, when he announced that everyone wearing red, I was like, oh, this was a coincidence, but a good one.
Ah,
Found one.
I had to look. I was like, I don't wear all that much red, so.
We've seen Raphael. I taught at Travis High School where Babs Miller was the head of special ed. And so at Travis, red was one of the colors. So we wore red a lot there.
Ah, okay.
But
love
I'm
your
sorry, I didn't
church.
wear red.
That's all right, Gloria. How are things in Albany, New York?
Beautiful today.
Yay!
Beautiful weather.
Good. How about Brazil?
Is that where Raphael is?
Raphael, are you? I don't know that.
Oh, Raphael, I am.
I am. Great, I am. Well, we're glad you are, Raphael. I'm standing up so I can see it. It's blocked by the computer there. So, where else? Jerome and Bobette, you're in.
We're in Booker, Texas, almost Kansas. So way north
Way north. Okay.
for Texas. Nowhere near as far north as others are, though.
Huh?
We have several people of much farther north than we have, just not in Texas.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody else in Austin or near Austin?
Austin.
Yes, yes, me too. Lago Vista.
Oh, there's Raphael.
Well, we are so glad you're all here. I'm just realizing I don't need this mask. So what's been happening this week? Anything major in anybody's lives?
Just getting through the Uvalde thing here in Texas.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'll share.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I don't see if I'm cutting somebody off. I'm
Okay.
in HEB curbside. My mom has COVID. And she lives with us, and she was in the middle of chemo treatment this week. So it's been a rough week at our home, but I can confidently say that all is well.
Good.
And Destiny, the COVID tests are in the drawer.
Thank you so much. I used one this morning. I'm still testing negative. I still feel great. So, but thank you so much, Carol.
And anybody who doesn't